All right, what's up, guys? I kind of told myself I was going to stop doing crazy air streams, but or crazy air upload recordings, but it reflects what my month has been so far. I don't know what happened, but well, let's get this coffee started first. Today, we're going to do the Lancaster, Lancaster County Coffee Roasters Shoe Fly Pie. My mom got me this coffee. It was in Pittsburgh, and she made it the morning when we got up. And I think she had 2 bags of it. So she gave me this bag to bring up here. Excuse me. Give me a moment to count these scoops out. I need 5 of them. And then once this is brewing, we'll get focused on the video. There's 1. Oh, it smells so good. 2. 3. 4. 5. Okay, that guy's rocking. Now, we did this same video yesterday, kind of, but it went way too long. So it's only on YouTube. It's like an hour and a half. And I did an unholy amalgamation of 5 different coffees. We summoned Exodia for yesterday's video. But basically, I've been quiet on November so far because I've been sleeping in my bed. Not because I'm lazy or anything like that, but just because I've actually been sick as fuck. Now, I don't generally get sick. I have the migraine issue, and that's really about it. Sometimes I'll get migraines triggered by stress. Sometimes I get migraines triggered by a sinus issue. But besides that, I don't get sick. And if I do get something going around, it's usually only got me down for 2 or 3 days when other people get knocked out for a week. But this, oh my God, I don't think I've ever been. There's maybe one other time in my life that I've been hit by anything this terrible. And it was, ironically, in November. The November directly before COVID hit. So I'm looking at 2 things right now. Either this was COVID, or we've got like COVID 2.0 coming in 2026. I don't know. But here's what I really want to say about today. I got really distracted. I probably spent the first hour talking about other things that weren't important. As for I'm basically better now. Yesterday I wasn't 100% better. Well, I'm not even 100%. I'm like maybe 10% better today. But today is the first day that I feel like the sickness broke, if you know what I mean. Where the only thing I have left is like the wet cough and some nasal blockage type stuff. So everything else I dealt with, I had like swollen ass ankles and feet and ridiculous headaches. I have like 3 different headaches in different areas of my head at the same time. It was terrible. I've been that sick twice in my life. And I'm doing better now though. And at this point I'm just cleaning up after that, doing laundry. all that stuff. And we should be back to uploading content regularly and streaming regularly next week. So, what I want to talk about today, though, is the fact that Trump is starving America for Christmas. Now, what do I mean by this? I'm talking specifically about the fact of him turning the work requirement for food stamps back on and shutting down the government right during the most important and difficult financial time of the year for everyone. Now, I will say, in the grand scheme of things, I do believe there needs to be a work requirement for able-bodied people that are receiving benefits, because otherwise you're just gonna have a bunch of piece of shit leeches that don't contribute to society. I still have a little bit of brain fog, if you guys can't tell. Also, haven't had any coffee yet today, so that's contributing. But let's get that second part handled right now. Actually, we have just enough, it looks like. So, you just can't let people leech off the system endlessly, otherwise the system is going to fail. It's that simple. So for people that are able-bodied, able-minded, it's definitely necessary to have some kind of work or training or volunteer requirement put in place. The problem I have is, and it's in place, by the way. It's been in place ever for a very, very long time, but I think it got turned off during COVID. The problem I have is it getting turned on right before Thanksgiving and Christmas. Oh, that's real good. I love this shoe fly pie coffee. So, anyone that has half a brain already knows that the holidays are the most financial, emotional, and time stressful part of the year for people of all socioeconomic statuses, right? I think if you were to ask Jesus if he wanted the United States to take away people's food for Thanksgiving and Christmas, he would say, fuck no. But that's just me. If you had, I think the best time to turn it back on would be February, you know? However, it's worse than ever before for multiple reasons. There aren't even really jobs for people to go back to anymore. And the primary reason is AI. This is, as far as I'm aware, I'm not sure if it's true across all sectors, but I've seen in some areas, this is the first year ever we are seeing layoffs instead of hirings during the holiday season. Because normally a lot of these retailers hire a bunch of delivery companies, all that stuff. Even restaurants will hire extra workers during the holiday season to account for extra traffic of all the sales, all the people traveling, all the families going out to eat when they get together to see each other for the one or two times they do a year. Also, there's all those personal expenses from traveling. I think um, the timing was very intentional. I believe it was meant to force people into destitution and uncertainty. And what's the other word I'm looking for? I had it yesterday. Go watch the full version on YouTube. My point is, I think this is one of the most evil things he could have possibly done. And um, I believe the Democrats are just as complicit with it, with the government shutdown and everything. Now, the government shutdown gets a whole lot more complicated, so let's not get into that. As far as I'm aware, the government is still shut down, but at this point, there has been a resolution allowing the funding of food stamps again. But because during the government shutdown, food stamps weren't even getting funded, right? Lots of people were just starving. People who were supposed to receive food to help them survive November have not received it up to the point where Trump added a new executive a new executive order recently, I believe it was. I'm not sure exactly how he did it, but he wrote some kind of resolution releasing funding to allow November SNAP to be paid out. So, if you're not, that's the modern version of food stamps. The EBT is technically like the electronic benefits transfer card. SNAP, it's the supplemental nutrition assistance program, I think. Um, so, um, but it's gummed up the works so bad that a lot of people already lost their food stamps, as far as I can tell, because of the additional work requirements being added during November, but no one being able to report that properly because the government was shut down. In addition to that, there's been a lot of delays and confusions because states were trying to self-fund it, and certain other federal agencies, I think, tried to help fund it. But then there were injunctions set out by the government to stop people to stop other people in the government from sending people money so they don't starve to death while the government is shut down. I think that is the most evil thing. When did the United States fall so far? I think it's when we took under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, you know? Because once you don't have faith in something bigger than yourself anymore, then it doesn't matter what you do to other people, right? There's no consequences. Who cares? You can be the most evil fuck in the world. You can starve people to death for fun and profit, but it's not going to matter. I think, like I said, I think it's necessary to have these work requirements and to absolutely not tolerate leeches being drains on society, but to turn, turn this on right now and then to shut the government down in such a way that basically is going to guarantee people lose their SNAP benefits. Brilliant, but insanely evil and cruel. I also think there's an important thing that people don't ever take into consideration. Some people do, but only like the really high level meta thinkers, which is opportunity cost, right? Even for people that do find that job and are still going to make ends meet, now they don't get to spend the holidays with their family anymore because they're going to have to work. I think being able to take Thanksgiving and Christmas off to spend those days with your family are some of the most important things in the world, right? I don't think, I just don't think this is good for the United States. I feel like this whole thing may have done irreversible damage. You know, for many years, I've watched the decline of the United States and I've done what I can to stop it, but no one's fucking listening to me. And uh it was always my hope that we could at least keep it going throughout my lifetime, you know, and maybe a generation or two after me if I ever find someone to have kids with. But at the very least, I didn't want to see America die. I didn't want to grow up in the best country in the world only to watch it destroy itself from within. Um, but that's exactly what's happening. At this point, I think we have 10 years of America left, maybe. It's hard to tell, right? This is such an insanely chaotic system that it's really truly impossible to predict. I find most things in life relatively straightforward and easily predictable, especially humans in smaller groups. But the existence of the United States, that's a pretty big singularity. And here's the thing. I am going to keep doing everything I can to keep this country alive. I am a hardcore patriot. I have been a Cub Scout since I was like 7 years old. I was I got my Eagle Scout firefighter for nearly 15 years. I love America. It's the greatest thing that has ever happened to this world. But I also believe it is inevitably going to die. Not just because all nations die eventually, but because it says so in the Bible. In the Bible, it talks about a great harlot, a nation state of extraordinary beauty that reaches across many waters, whose culture influences the entire world, and essentially, through her own economic power, creates a golden age for the entire world. Uh, and how she eventually destroys herself from within, and then all the other countries of the world weep of her passing while they feast on her flesh. that's a gross oversimplification. And it's been several years since I've read the Book of Revelation at this point. I need to go back and refresh myself, especially considering all the things going on right now. But there is no doubt in my mind that America is the harlot. For a while, I thought maybe it could be the UAE with Dubai and all that stuff. But then I look at like the gold-plated cars and the esports infrastructure, and I'm like, oh, you know what? That's all American culture, just accelerated to the nth degree, you know? So it's definitely America. That's the harlot in the book of Revelations. And I really, really, really do not want to see her fall. But I believe Trump has done irreversible damage with the timing of turning the SNAP work requirement back on, as well as the timing of the government shutdown, which just happens to extend through the period where you're supposed to be reporting the SNAP work requirement reports, but you can't submit them because the government shut down. And I believe the Democrats are absolutely complicit in assisting with all of this. It's just a really terrible, terrible situation. We have now reached a point in the United States where over 50% of Americans can't afford to pay their monthly bills. That is simply not sustainable. They say anyone who studies history, who fails to study history, is doomed to repeat it. Well, go ahead and look at history and see what happens when a people believe that their leadership no longer cares about them, is getting rich off their backs while they get poor, and that it is safer to be out in the streets protesting than it is to quietly go to work and keep their head down. A total and complete collapse, usually. And I don't think it's going to be this nice, pretty civil war that like the fucking FUD alt-rights have and the Marxist leftists have, where they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be the second civil war, and we're gonna crush the evil in this country and make it great again by making it a Nazi state or a communist state, even though those are like the two greatest evils this world has ever faced. And we literally fought a world war to prevent each of those from taking over the world. That's one of the craziest things to me. What the fuck is wrong with you? How are you still believing all of these politicians? Every single one of them is anti-American. You have a country that was founded by immigrants with guns, and yet one political party is anti-immigrant and the other political party is anti-gun. Both of our parties are 50% anti-American, and yet somehow all you guys do is vote for political parties that are anti-American and expect America to get better when all the people you keep putting in charge of America actually hate America. What the fuck is wrong with you? I had something else I want to say, but I don't remember what it was anymore. I got work to go do. So, well, actually, not tonight. Tonight is the Sabbath. So, tonight's the night of rest. I'm gonna like do a little bit of laundry. Probably play some Warframe, maybe some Marvel Rivals, and I'll see you guys on Sunday, I guess. I don't know if there's a way to turn things around. I really hope there is. I am the fool that always holds on to hope. I just don't see it right now. I can feel it, but I don't see it. So, all I'm going to say is I'm going to go make myself some lunch. I'm going to hang out and relax because if God can take one day off, so can I. And I will see you guys on Sunday, I guess. Cheers. I love all of you, and God bless America.